In this video, we're going to look at using GitHub Copilot to do some CS homework assignment. First, we're going to paste the problem statement into the text editor, and then the system will offer to do a solution, but didn't go much further. So we're going to prompt it to say, ask for user input. Press tab based on what we get. Then enter, and then tab, enter, tab, enter, tab, enter, tab. And this collects all the user input. Hit enter, print the song. I'm going to fill out saying print the song using the user input. Here it prints it by concatenating strings. And we can try that, or we can try saying, use the string interpolation. And so when we delete the existing code and then print tab, enter, tab, enter, tab, it will give us an approach using string interpolation. We can try running that, put in the sample, and then see what the output is. Looks like what we're expecting. Let's try again, but this time give the system some instructions to say, put one line in each print statement. I could have accepted that one, but didn't quite read it fast enough, so I'm gonna spell it out a little differently to say, put one print statement, use one print statement per line. So now it will give me an alternate approach using multiple print statements instead of one multi-line. Next assignment is going to be an Old MacDonald variation. So we'll paste the problem statement and then go in to the end of that and let the system start developing the code. It put in the comment, which we accepted, then it put the code. When we got to the end of the input, it just waited, and so we pressed another enter, and that gave us the next space for the prompt using a comment. So now we can try that, put in various words, and see the results. Next, we're going to do some TV program scheduling. This one is going to be a bit more complicated. Here, we're going to enter some number of minutes to fill, then have to press enter, calculate number of hours and minutes. So it does some nice calculations for hours and minutes. And then again, a blank line to calculate the number of dramas, sitcoms, news breaks, advertisements, a blank line to print the result. It tells us this is again following the instructions. It's looking very much like the output we were expecting. So we'll give it a try, give it 90 minutes, and you can see that we got one drama, 2 sitcoms, 24 news breaks, and 120 advertisements. So it was saying, this is what you could have done with 90 minutes, instead of this is what we will do with 90 minutes. So what we're going to do is try over again saying subtract the time from each as you go along. So now we get negative 28 minutes of drama, 61 minutes of sitcom. So that's not working very well. let's try some further instructions. It suggests some prompts that we want to subtract the time, divide, use the quotient. So I'm just accepting all the prompts it offers, and we'll see what that generates. It seems to me like we've got a lot of extra things, and also it's calculating the minutes incorrectly. It continues to want to do this, so let's try starting over with a different prompt. Here we're going to calculate the number of dramas. So let's just start with that. Okay, that was simpler. And now, how many minutes are left over? Well, that many minutes. So this shows that asking simpler, more direct questions gives us a better shot at things. And then, much like autocomplete, once it gets on a roll of going in the right direction, it seems to be able to continue that quite easily. So we're getting all of our output calculations seem to be reasonably good. Minutes left over, we really shouldn't have to take the minutes left over, but we'll leave that in. Now it wants to calculate number of hours, but that doesn't really seem very useful. So we'll just eliminate that. Tell it to fill 90 minutes. And sure enough, the print statement. We used to have hours, we don't have hours anymore. So let's just get rid of that and say, why don't you print the results? It keeps saying, I want to print 1 hour and 30 minutes. It's taking that from our sample output, but that's based on the user input. So it's treating the sample for 90 minutes as being the thing it should always do. So that's not really very helpful. We need to base it on the number of minutes entered by the user. Okay, so let's see, it still thinks it should be a literal hour and 30 minutes. And it's going to go ahead and put out the rest of the things in a reasonably proper form, so we can at least try that out. But let's go to the top and say, maybe we should print at the top, print at the beginning before we've done all these calculations. So print the number of hours. Well, we want hours and minutes, hours and minutes. So now it's printing with the proper format. And so we can take the print statement out from later in the code. We now run it with 90. We get 1 drama, 1 sitcom, 5 news breaks, and 3 ads. But notice the news breaks and ads have a floating point number. Notice also that it's saying 1 print statement per line using F string to format. This is happening because we still have the other programs open, and it's using those as examples of ways it thinks we like to do things. So now we're going to just go ahead and round to the nearest integer. It's going to round all of them, which is okay. It doesn't hurt anything. We'll try running that, give it 90 minutes. And we get the right lengths for each of them. The thing we don't get there is I didn't reduce the number of minutes by the hours. So we're still printing the wrong number of minutes. That would be something to go in and fix. Next, we're going to look at making change. So we'll paste the requirements in and then ask for user input. It's starting to follow the patterns of what we've done in other cases. And it gets the prompt correct based on the instructions. It gets the next prompt correct, and then a blank line, and then calculate the change. So change is paid minus cost, and then calculate the number of $20 bills. And it seems to be going in a very nice pattern here. So we can just continue tab and enter to just keep accepting the calculations. It's doing it in a bit of a very detailed way where it's giving each line its own comment. And so that's going to get a little bit tedious, but the calculations do seem to be correct. Notice that after one group, even though you hit enter, it just sits and you need to hit enter again. That could be it needs enter to sort of prompt it, or maybe it just likes to have blank lines. You can see down in the bottom right, the Copilot symbol is showing a circle whenever it's doing calculations or whenever it's going back to the server when it's trying to decide what to type next. So here again, we're getting one statement per line using F strings, rounding to the nearest integer, but I ended up with a blank line because I pressed enter twice, so I needed to go to the end of the previous line and hit enter to get it to start offering code again. So I can save that and then try running it. Put in dollars and cents for the cost, and then dollars and cents for the amount paid. With that, we get the right answer.